Hello, my name is Dr. Bob DeMaria. Welcome once again to another very exciting Half Off Health program. And we come to you each and every week bringing you cutting edge information. Well, today is a really very special program because I have two guests that are a part of the program today that I've been so fortunate to have with me. It is Dr. Anthony and Dr. Casen DeMaria. You can say, wow, there are two of you right now, three of you going on? Yes. So when you make that wise choice to pick up that telephone and come to North Coast Chiropractic in Elyria, Ohio, and you can come to us anywhere in the world, by the way, we'll take care of you, and we will. It's like I'm watching that lawyer advertisement, and we will make them pay. Now, what we'll do is we are going to find out exactly what's going to happen inside of your body. And we just thoroughly love that. So I'm going to interview Doctors Anthony and Casen. We're going to talk about what their passion is and how we can make a difference in their lives. So first, Dr. Anthony, it's what an honor to have my son on TV. And it's actually Dr. Anthony. It's like, oh man, this is so cool. And your lovely wife, Dr. Casen. Dr. Casen, thank you for coming today. I know that it had to be really interesting to join a family that has, you know, Dr. Bob and then Dr. Anthony. Now you're part of chiropractic. Isn't that awesome?
It's exciting.
So talk to me. I'm gonna interview you a little bit. What made you decide to be a chiropractor?
Well, in the beginning, I graduated from high school, and from high school, I went to school to be a massage therapist. And when I was in massage therapy school, I just knew that I wanted to serve more people. So when I was in school, I actually worked with a sports massage therapist, so I was able to work with a lot of elite athletes at the Ironman in Lake Placid,
Really?
New York. So from there,
what was that like?
that was amazing, just seeing, you know, the endurance and the hard work that it takes.
Do they really, because you see all these big muscles, do those guys take drugs to do that?
No, they don't.
So when you see these, like, what do they do to do that?
I don't know. They work very hard.
So do they injure themselves a lot?
Yeah, I mean, working with them, I just remember, you know, after they do the Ironman, just the salt on their bodies, and, you know, you would see people bringing them to the emergency tents and...
Really? Wow, I guess I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, so it was very, you know, eye-opening just to see the work and people, they just dedicate their lives to training for these type of events. So it just was like eye-opening for me to see this type of, you know, this new type of endurance that people do.
What is like the most common, you know, these are like world-class athletes. What is like the #1 challenge that you saw these people have?
I think just like, you know, after, you know, fatigue syndromes, you know, plantar fasciitis, dehydration was huge.
Really? So that's really, so I think that's just a good point because most people probably are dehydrated and don't even know that. Actually, I think a lot of times if you're hungry, instead of eating something, I've been told what you should do is have a glass of water. That would make a huge difference. Were there any chiropractors at these events?
We were just in the massage therapy tent, so it was interesting because I didn't really know a lot about chiropractic at that point in my life, but I can see how it definitely would benefit athletes.
So were the chiropractors at all in the training facility that you were at, like at all? Or no, it was just massage
I was just
therapy?
I mean, there were hundreds of massage therapists.
Wow. That's really exciting. That to me, that's just really interesting. The fact that you were able to work with world-class athletes, because they really do. Like, we're world-class chiropractors, not to be funny, but we really are for what, you know, we impact people around the world. So then, Dr. Anthony, your loving husband of a very short time period, and as time goes on, long time period. So I can't say you didn't have much of a choice to be a chiropractor because your brother made choices to do something else. So let's talk to the audience. Why did you decide to do this?
So I decided to be a chiropractor probably my senior year of high school. During that summer, I was working for my dad in the office. I had previously worked for a trucking company, and my dad and my mom said, you know what, you can come and work for us for a summer, and I was very grateful for that because I didn't want to work at a trucking company anymore. So while working at the office, I think I was really impacted on how chiropractic works. I saw the energy that everybody that was in the office, and it just seemed like the days went by so fast at the office. People were getting better. I can remember all the miracle stories that were taking place in the chiropractic office. I can remember seeing pre and post x-rays of patients that were experiencing chiropractic care and how it impacted their lives. I thought that that was just amazing, and I always wanted to be a part of that. So ever since that time period, I was working as hard as I possibly could to become the best chiropractor that I could be, and it took me 7.5 years, and I picked up one on the way. But it has been a wonderful journey, and I can't wait to impact this world for chiropractic.
What a story. And then, so you went to chiropractic. Where did you do your undergraduate work at?
I went to Messiah College, where I got a bachelor's degree in biology, and there I learned pretty much how to study and learned a whole bunch about how the body works, about how biology in general and ecology and the environment, and it just was really impacting. And then from that point in time, I went to Life University for chiropractic, which is the largest chiropractic school in the world. And it was such an amazing experience that we had there, learning about really how the body works.
And I think, you know, I went to college back in the 1970s, and I was going to chiropractic college. Back then, I was taking course loads of anywhere from between 23 and 25 semester hours, and I did that for 10 semesters. And I know, you know, sometimes I don't think that people really realize how much training. I mean, we have a lot of training. One of my favorite classes, by the way, was human dissection. Did you enjoy human dissection?
It made me want to work out because we saw all of these cadavers and all of the fat at the body parts. I was like, oh my gosh, I do not want to end up like one of these people that are on this table. But it was very interesting.
And so you went to, and we have a lot more to talk about the chiropractic college experience. So with your massage therapy training, and you have a bachelor's degree also, and then you decided to go to, what made you pick Life University?
Actually, when I was in massage therapy school, I hurt my back, so I was
Really?
waitressing. So I knew that I wanted to do something bigger than massage therapy because I wanted to help and serve more people. So I actually looked into physical therapy at first, and then I looked into chiropractic, and I started, you know, job shadowing a chiropractor, and I was just seeing how excited these people were and their energies, and you know, they weren't taking any medication, which was different for me because I didn't grow up in a chiropractic family. So I thought, you know, in the beginning, you know, medication, that's just
What you do.
what you do.
Wow, that's, you know, it's kind of interesting, because I want to just stop for a minute, because there are people watching us right now that you take medication every day. See, Dr. Anthony and myself, we never took, we just don't medication, and I am like this close to being 60 years old, so we take no medication. And our family, I don't know if we just never, this is not about what we do. And so if you want to be a part of this whole, it's a new culture. And the more I study and look what's going out there, we are here a part of a revolution. And a part of what we want to do is help you that are at the couch at home, sitting in our office, anywhere in the world, because it could be on the internet. Our goal is to make a difference in your life. And briefly, and I do apologize that I didn't talk to you about this sooner, but we are chiropractors. And our focus is the spine and the nervous system. And I know that you say, well, Dr. Bob, don't you work with diet and nutrition? I do. I've been trained in diet and nutrition. Dr. Anthony and Dr. Casen have learned about diet and nutrition. We know that what you eat can cause subluxation. See, what's a subluxation? A subluxation is when a bone puts pressure on the sensitive nerves. So this might be the first time that some of you may have watched me. Maybe you're channel surfing and you say, hey, I really like that guy and that young girl, and the other young gentlemen that are on the program right now. So your brain sits in the skull. It continues on as the cord. The cord is in the column. That's really important for you to get that. Now, I'm kind of chuckling in my mind because we had a young lady that came into our office just the other day. And this part of the spine right here goes to the colon. And she said to me in passing, Dr. Bob, like, I have not been going to the bathroom. She's not been pooping. And I said, well, you know, I understand. We talked a little bit about her diet, and she said, I've been doing all of that. So in our office, we do painless adjustments, because a lot of people think, oh, if I go to the chiropractor, oh, he's going to hurt me. No, we don't hurt anybody. If you have any pain at all, it's usually because you've been eating a lot of sugar. It causes inflammation. That's a whole nother story. But that bone right here, this vertebra goes to your colon. So I gave her an adjustment to her low back. It's called an anterior lumbar adjustment. She came into my office yesterday. She was smiling. Dr. Bob, you can't believe this. I did not even make it home. Did you know that?
It's amazing.
She didn't go to the bathroom in the car, but she went to the bathroom. Do you know the average American, they don't have regular bowel movements like they should. You should have at least 2 bowel movements every day. Some of you should have 3. Some of you haven't gone for 2 or 3 days. That is not healthy. That promotes disease and long-term illness. And Dr. Anthony has a really interesting power in the panel chart right here. And what's kind of fascinating about that, you want to talk about how all that works?
Yes, so as we talked about before with the spinal cord and column, is that the brain sits up at the top in the skull and it travels down through the vertebral column as the spinal cord, but at each of those specific segments are nerves that come out of each vertebral column, and those nerves are like circuit breakers, just like you have in your house. If one of those are out of position, the circuit breaker can go off, and those organs that are connected to those nerves are not functioning optimally like they should. So, you know, like you could say, well, does that cause disease or dysfunction? Well, those are things that we like to get rid of in our office by removing those misalignments in the spine. And by doing that, people come in and they'll say, you know what, all these problems that I were having seem to go away through chiropractic care once they get their spine in correct alignment. So that is what we're doing in the office, is working at removing subluxation and getting sick people well.
What we're doing, we're turning your power back on. And we say power's on after we do these adjustments. And I think that's so significant. This is some basic physiology. And I really want you to focus about what I'm going to say right now. Every day, your brain sends out 28 billion, hear what I just said? 28 billion messages or emails or texts to the body. So the computer has been the very best thing for chiropractic. You see, most people think chiropractors treat neck and back pain. We don't treat neck and back pain. We help the spine improve with function, and one of the many benefits is neck and back pain go away. And low back pain is one of the leading reasons that most people will miss work. I bet you didn't know that. Well, anyway, your brain sends messages down the spinal cord. So here's the circuit breaker, like Dr. Anthony was saying. If this breaker is off, it'll put pressure on sensitive nerves. So that woman that came into my office, she could have been shoveling snow, raking leaves, I don't know, but she had functional problems. We corrected that subluxation. Her colon started to function. She could have gone to her medical doctor. He could have given her a medication. Her colon would have become dependent on that medication, because I've had that happen to people before. She would have had a flaccid colon. I've had patients that have had parts of their intestines taken out. Can you imagine that? 12 inches. I had one gentleman that just came in, they took all of his large intestines out because of subluxation. Gravity never takes a vacation. See, Dr. Bob, what are you talking about? See, a lot of times people in our culture have a challenge because you think, well, if I go to the chiropractor, I have to go back to the chiropractor. Why do you have to go back to the chiropractor? First, you don't have to come back. You can just live in your misery. Or you can make the wise choice to come into the office, be checked, have your spine corrected, follow the dietary recommendations. Yes, responsibility, because what you eat, visceral somatic subluxation, can cause challenges. And Dr. Anthony and Dr. Casen have done a lot of extra training and have specialized in a technique, which I'm going to have you discuss, called the Pierce technique. and we're going to talk about that right after we take a short break. We'll be right back. Call a friend. Hello, this is Dr. Bob, Anthony, and Casen DeMaria once again bringing you our half-off health program. And I'm going to have Dr. Anthony and Dr. Casen talk about a technique that they're using and that they were taught in chiropractic college that I really didn't know anything about per se. I have a degree in spinal engineering. They are certified in the Pierce technique, which is a very specific technique, and Dr. Case is going to share that she actually has a research article that was published and how she was able to help a child have migraine headaches. So, you know, this is real stuff that we're doing right here. So, Dr. Anthony, talk about Pierce.
So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Pierce. It was developed by a chiropractor throughout his life, 70s, 80s, 90s, and after his death has been continued to be worked on by other chiropractors whose main goal was removing those subluxations as fast as they possibly could and getting corrections or what they called results on every single patient, and that was of utmost importance to them, is removing those subluxations. So what it deals with is there are 3 to 4 curves in the spine that are natural, what we would call a cervical lordosis, or the arc of life in the neck. So there's natural curves in the body, and when those curves are no longer there, whether it be from trauma, microtrauma, subluxation, it puts pressure on the spinal cord. So the entire point of using the results system is to analyze the spine specifically in order to figure out which way it is exactly out of alignment. And by giving specific adjustments with specific analysis, you're able to get results on a much faster pace, and it's been really state-of-the-art because you can use motion x-ray. I know that Casen has had the ability to have been adjusted by Dr. Pierce's son, Dr. Pierce Jr., and her first experience with chiropractic care was unbelievable. We use a special piece of equipment called a video fluoroscopy, and it's essentially just motion x-ray. So when you see Dr. Casen's pre and post motion x-ray, it's like night and day. Even a blind person can see the correction.
Helen Keller. That's good.
No
we like
offense
that kind
against
of
Helen Keller, but it is very, very specific, and it makes the hugest difference in the world. And Dr. Casen and I were lucky enough to be able to write research papers on this in our chiropractic training. I'm going to have her tell about hers that got published.
Actually, I had the privilege to work with one of the field doctors that just recently graduated from Life University, and he had a case, and actually it was a 12-year-old girl, and she had missed a month of school.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Because of her migraines.
That's not uncommon, I don't think, either.
So actually her neck, it's, you know, your neck is supposed to have a lordosis and look like a banana. It was actually the reverse. So she had a complete kyphosis, so it's going the actual opposite way. It looked like a C.
If a normal neck looks like this, hers was going like that. That makes me have pain just thinking about it.
And 12 years old, you know, 12-year-old girl.
You know, and if they didn't know about chiropractic care, she could have been on medication for the rest of her life.
So actually in the you know, with the Pierce technique, 5 visits, she had a complete reverse of the curve. So it went back to its normal lordosis, and she's been migraine free since.
So does the Pierce technique use special tables? Because you know, all chiropractors are not the same. And we have a lot of training at North Coast Chiropractic, unlike many of the other healthcare providers. And if you're happy with your chiropractor right now, God love you, stay with who you're working with. But if you're either having chiropractic care or medical care and you're just not totally happy with the results, maybe it's time to do something different. So talk to me, not that what you did was so special, but it was special. Like, how would you like to be the mom right now?
It's amazing. Just even, you know, I think people, they say, well, why are the kids going to the chiropractor? You know,
Good point.
Because, you know, their spine should be perfect, but they actually don't realize how traumatic the, you know, birth trauma is. That's the first thing that happens to us at birth is, you know, the spinal cord and just the vertebrae, they're just not developed yet. So a lot of things can actually subluxate the baby.
So I think, can you just repeat that? I mean, and I'm not saying this to be funny. So birth can cause subluxation? Mm-hmm. So that means that it's possible that someone could be sick from the beginning of their life?
Yeah.
So if somebody comes into our office and they will say to me, you know what, little Billy's been sick their whole life. And they'll go, how can that be? Subluxation. I believe you're taking some classes in, you've taken classes in advanced pediatric. So that means chiropractors help kids?
And actually at Life University, we took pediatrics, and then we took advanced pediatrics. So we actually learned how to care for the mom in pregnancy and how to do things called Leopold's maneuvers. So
Okay, we got to slow this down a little bit because that is like very cutting edge. So you can help moms that are carrying babies, because there are moms, and there are especially grandmas right now that are watching us saying, I think that she should go see these chiropractors. So Dr. Casen is obviously a female chiropractor. We are so excited to have her in our practice because it opens up like a whole realm of new people. So talk to me about this.
So
Pregnancy chiropractic.
In pregnancy, a lot of moms, they'll have leg pain, and the sciatic nerve is the largest nerve in the body. So if they're subluxated in their lower back, in their lower spine, at their sacrum area, we know certain adjustments that can help to actually loosen the ligaments and help them, make them more comfortable during pregnancy, which also helps to can turn the baby.
Without medication.
Without medication.
Without the bad effects of medication.
Exactly.
So you talked about the sciatic nerve.
So actually, the brain sends nerves. There's 31 pairs of spinal nerves in the body, which go to all the organs. So if you think about if you're subluxated, the nerve is not sending the message to the organ.
It's like it's not getting its email. That'd be like if Dr. Anthony sent you a text and you didn't get it, he would say, it's like, why didn't you show up? And it's kind of like your brain's saying, hey, poop. And it's like, you didn't tell me to. I mean, in essence, that's what's happening.
Yes,
I know we can laugh about it because we're all pooping, but there are people out there that have sinus problems, heart palpitations. Somebody had the gallbladder out. Do you know how many people get their gallbladders out every year, by the way?
Too many.
Too many. Good answer. I'm glad you're my son. 500,000 people. Do you know what the #1 side effect of gallbladder removal is? Heart disease and cancer. So do you think that stress has anything to do with subluxation?
Yes, I would say that stress is a huge aspect of subluxation. So what a lot of people don't understand about subluxation is there is the emotional and neurological as well as physical components of subluxation. So you say emotional or physical,
I know,
like what the heck? People's emotions and the stress that they have in their lives can remove the vertebra from its correct alignment, causing subluxation and stress. So it's not just stress that you would experience from trauma or birth that can cause spinal cord dysfunction, but your everyday stressors, and people don't realize or understand that their spine might be out of alignment, and that's what's causing their problem.
Sometimes I feel, gosh, where do we even start with all this? Because we understand it because we've lived it. I've lived this since I was 19 years old. You lived it since you were 3 days old, well, actually since the beginning of your life. So a lot of this